Not anybody who thought they were going to be able to escape this session, tough. I want to talk to you about QNJAC. You've already heard about a bit of an outline of it from Colin, but I've got one or two questions I wanted to ask you, one of which is a complete waste of time now because I was going to ask you who'd heard of it. Clearly you've all heard of it now because Colin told you all about it, but I will ask you one other question. With the exception of those who are in it, who knows what QNJAC does? It all goes very quiet. Okay, in one way that's a good thing, and another way it's a bad thing. It's a bad thing because we have yet to communicate to everybody what it does, and it's a good thing because it gives me something to talk about for the next few minutes. These are the aims and objectives of QNJAC. I don't expect you to go through all of those and read them. They're on HSE's website. And essentially, what QNJAC seeks to do is to promote health and safety in the quarrying industry and the associated industries. It wants to identify health and safety challenges and concerns affecting the industry, and it wants to develop solutions, share information, and learn from incidents and also from HSE inspections and investigations. Who are we? Membership is drawn from trade associations. That's the three main quarrying trade associations, which are the Mineral Products Association, British Aggregates Association and CoalPro. From professional bodies, such as the Institute of Quarrying and the Geological Society. From trade unions, the GMB and Unite. And from educational establishments as well, from the University of Derby and the Camborne School of Mines. Currently, QNJAC formally meets once a year, but it does consult electronically within itself all of the time. Now, this is an important bit. Outputs from QNJAC carry the QNJAC title, not HSE. However, your quality assurance on those outputs is that they must be agreed by the whole committee. The whole committee includes HSE. What you're getting is industry expert developed, HSE endorsed guidance, and it's the nearest thing to HSE guidance available to the industry other than the official ACOP to the quarries regulations. Now, the host website to those outputs is www.quinjac.com or .co.uk and www.safequarry.com. All of the outputs are freely downloadable and they can be put onto member organisation websites. Now, QNJAC also has subcommittees and working groups established to support the main committee on particular subjects. Another thing, QNJAC is now branded, and it has a strapline, which I think captures exactly what it's all about. It's essential health and safety guidance for quarries. That's what QNJAC's all about. Now, I'm not going to go too much into this. There's also a smartphone app, by the way, but you're going to be hearing an awful lot more about that shortly when my double act partner, Mr. Phillips, joins me up on here in a few minutes' time. What's QNJAC achieved? Well, actually, quite a lot. Accidents in quarries are now 85% less than they were in the year 2000, which was the year that marked the start of the Hard Targets Initiative. QNJAC has published over 50 pieces of industry-led guidance and has several important pieces of guidance also under development. QNJAC also consulted very extensively on the Quarries Regulations 1999 and the accompanying ACOP, and also to the amendments to the ACOP, which were fairly limited in scope recently following the Lofted review of health and safety legislation. Carrying on from that, you've seen a bit of this in Colin's presentation. So the really good news there runs from 2000 to 2010. That clearly shows how all the good work done in the industry translated into accident reductions. And by keeping on doing those things, they're staying at this reduced level, which is 85% lower than it was at the start. Just have another look at what QNJAC has achieved. The over 50 pieces of industry-led guidance. Again, I'm not going to go through all of these. This is just a simple example of some of the guidance that's been produced by each of the working groups. But to give you a flavour, we know, for example, that the contractor's roadmap to safety is being used by our contractors. And we know this because two of the major companies in the industry have undertaken the Health and Safety Laboratories Health and Safety Climate Tool. And the answers to that and the responses that come back from that tell us this. So we know, we have actual proof that this is being used. I've also recently been informed that when QNJAC published its operator and contractor code of conduct, that document was seized upon by the Health and Safety Authority in Ireland, the Republic of Ireland, who have now accredited it to QNJAC and published it as an HSE document, as an HSA document, sorry. Also, I should tell you that QNJAC is in the final stages of consultation on amending and updating the electrical guidance that was and still is available, I should say, on HSE's website. The intention there is that QNJAC will adopt that guidance, update it to the 17th edition and make it relevant to now. And HSE guidance will be removed from our website. So QNJAC will then own that guidance. We also know, for example, that the geotechnical guidance that's available has been seen by at least 300 people from the quarrying industry. And we know that's true because that's how many people attended the QNJAC geotechnical seminars held 2 years ago. You'll also know, those of you that get inspected by inspectors, that our inspectors will refer to QNJAC guidance during inspections. And MPQC, the training body, refers to and uses QNJAC guidance in an awful lot of its courses. Now, there are still issues with getting information out to those who need it. And that's despite having things like the website, the app, AgNet, and HSE's own Quarry e-bulletins, which I know many of you were signed up for because 3 years ago there were 500 people signed up to HSE e-bulletins. There are now over 16,000. Let's go back to that graph. You saw this a little while ago. Colin put it up. This is the full version of the graph I showed you 2 slides ago. And the reason I'm putting this up is to show the plateau. I also want to reiterate that our accident incident rate is around 2 times the national average for all industries, but fatal accident incident rates are 11 times the average for all industries. We should be in no doubt whatsoever that quarrying remains a very dangerous industry, and that any accident within us, in our industry, is likely to have, or a high likelihood of being a serious accident. Now, looking at that last 6 years, the plateau, one thing we have to remember during that time is that this industry contracted something like 40% in that period. Therefore, we know that the actual accident incident rate must be going up because the numbers have stayed level. So we've got to start doing something different. The old adage, if we keep doing what we've been doing, we'll keep getting what we've been getting. Now, that isn't all bad, because we've got that huge reduction that shows there. But this industry gave a commitment to becoming zero harm, and I believe that's what it wants to be, and I also believe it has the expertise and the will to do it. However, and this is a recent quote from somebody who's a respected contractor working in our industry for actually a major quarrying company, and he said, and this is sort of a paraphrased quote, they go on about Target Zero, but chuck it out the window if it gets in the way of commercial decisions or they pass the buck to someone else. Now that somewhat mirrors what Colin said about issues of leadership actually being at middle management, site management and supervisor level. But the simple thing is we need to recognise and tease out the attitudes because they're the people that we need to change because they are contributing to that plateau. Bit of Monty Python-esque here. What does QNJAC do for you? What did the Romans ever do for us? Okay, develops HSE agreed industry-led guidance. It also, as Colin said, offers a developmental opportunity for all staff, not just managers, but for the workforce as well. And I want to touch on that as well in a minute. It offers a forum to discuss emerging issues, and it allows you to consult with HSE on operational policy. Now, here's an important one. Who owns QNJAC? Well, the members do. It's not owned by HSE. HSE provides the secretariat and chairs it. But it does what its members want it to do. But its members have got to tell it what it wants it to do. What's the purpose of QNJAC? Well, the ultimate purpose has to be to help the quarrying industry to become what it says it wants to be in terms of health and safety. Namely, a zero-harm environment. Harm, I said, not accident, that's harm, accidents and ill health. It needs the commitment and resources that industry can provide in order to achieve that. That it is achievable is beyond doubt. What we have to do is make it sustainable. I have some remaining questions. How does QNJAC get guidance to those who need to see it? How can you access QNJAC guidance? I'm now going to hand over to Mike Phillips, who hopefully is going to be able to answer some of those questions for you. Thank you.
Morning all. Yeah, I do work for the Institute of Quarrying, but please bear with me because I am wearing my QNJAC hat today, right? I joined QNJAC 7 years ago, and it's not only QNJAC, but I sit on numerous other committees. But one of the things what I am truly passionate about is the work that QNJAC does. And rightly so, as Colin said, you've got to get the information out there. Day one of the conference yesterday was all about how we communicate, engage with people, new ways of communicating and pushing the way forward. And this is where the QNJAC communication subgroup was set up. And this was 2 years ago. And actually it was Roy, the bugger, who volunteered me to chair this committee. And so I just thought we'd let you know what we've been up to, what we've been doing. So we went out to the industry and we said, actually, how many people use QNJAC and how many people know where it lives and what it does and where to get the information from? And the response back was absolutely astonishing. It was rooms like this where you'd get 3 and 4 people putting the hand up, and it was embarrassing, actually, considering the work that QNJAC does. So we said, one of the first things what we've got to do is we've got to give QNJAC access to absolutely everybody, right? And as Roy was saying, supervisors, guys who sweep up on belt ends, working quarries, loading shovel operators, the lot, absolutely everybody. So we said, hang on a second, we've got to do a bit better than this, because I was sat in the main QNJAC meeting and I Googled QNJAC, right? And on Google, it came up as page 41. I said, well, we've got a hell of a challenge there. And so that's not good enough. So we used a bit of wizardry and so on, and we give it a strapline, Essential Health and Safety Guidance in Quarries, right? And we started using analytics and so on. Actually, I'm really proud to say now we're on line 4, or line 2 actually this morning, of page 1 of Google. We created QNJAC.com and co.uk. That was a hell of a thing, right? Everything used to land on Safe Quarry, but we said, no, give QNJAC its own identity. And being a Yorkshireman, believe it or not, I did put my hand in my own pockets and bought that for the industry. And I said, well, that's fine. It's absolutely marvellous. But we also said we've got to start using social media, right? This is how people communicate. We're talking about the Twitter walls and LinkedIn. I've personally been posting things on LinkedIn this morning, right? But people are starting to use it, and we've got to engage with people in a different way. We also said that Target Zero has been around for quite a while. I can remember the old Target Zero, and it's been there for 10 years, and you think, well, actually, we need to kick this off and give it a fresh lease of life. And we created this. We actually called it the Drive to Target Zero. In fact, it was Colin Jenkins what came up with that in the main QNJAC meeting. And we launched this at Hillhead in front of 8,500 people. Phenomenal. And as I say, the Google rankings have just gone through the roof. So when we're talking about social media, we've got a guy who's graffitiing on a board over there. And one of the big things what I took from yesterday was, from the industry experts, we should be using social media much better. So we said, right, we'll do that. And it is a new era of communicating. And if I can just take a poll on this, right? How many people in the room use some form of social media? That speaks volumes. And I think that is one thing what we've got to push forward. And we are getting better at it. So the social media, bearing in mind, right, we haven't publicised this at all, right? This hasn't gone up. We just set the groups up. Well, I didn't. It was Dave Tebbett, who works for IQ, and he gets all the credit for this. LinkedIn group, 93 members, right? Twitter, 56 followers. Facebook, 15 likes. That's without publicising a thing. It's people, what's just out there, you and I, who's looking for QNJAC. So we said, actually, there's all this guidance, 50-odd pieces, hugely important stuff. It's out there. So we said, well, why don't we create an app? And firstly, when I stood up in front of the main QNJAC and I scared people to death on this one, and there was a fair bit of reluctance to do it, but we said, no, we'll do it. So the focus of the app, we said, we're going to make it free, absolutely free of charge, not one of these 69 pence things where you download and they start asking you for more money. We said, no, this has got to be free. It's got to be dead easy to use, very intuitive. It's got to be accessible on Apple and Android systems, but it's also got to work on tablets as well as mobile devices. I've got mine here. Come and call me in a bit and I'll show you. But it's got to work on everything as much as we possibly can. It doesn't work on BlackBerries because BlackBerry don't seem to be too keen on apps, but it does work. We also said that actually, when you stood in a hole in the ground in a quarry, not all the time do you have a reception and you haven't got connected to internet, but we still wanted it to work. And through our app designers, they've put a huge amount of work into this. So actually, you can turn it up without any connectivity, it will work and you will get the guidance. So when you open it up, that's the splash page. The Prime logo's been added because it was a major part of the Prime project, but it was actually sponsored by IQ. One-time registration. You only register once because we don't want to make it too difficult for everybody. Right? But the most important thing about registering, we know then who's using the app and who we can be targeting, who we can be pushing it to, and we can use it smarter. Right? And the other thing is, the user we can contact you, we can push messages to you. It's an interface, it's a tool to get the information to you. So once you've logged on, that's your home screen, right? Very fresh, very easy, looks exactly the same as the website. QNJAC guidance at the top. What is QNJAC? Target 0. Very, very easy information. So you click onto the guidance. Looks exactly the same again. As always, we always use the 3-click rule because people don't want to do anything more than click 3 times, otherwise they lose interest. And it's still there. So you can see contractors, drilling and blasting, geotechnical face and stockpiles, and so on. And once you get into the contractors, that's the guidance. It's all there. And believe me, it does work offline. Example of a guidance page. Right? Very, very easy to use. So the app's continued. It's live, it's working, it's there. We know people are downloading it because we're tracking the usage. Right? Please go out there and use it. Like I say, it's free and it's there. Hang on a second, it didn't work. So the future of QNJAC. As Roy said, right, QNJAC is owned by you guys, right? But I think what we've noticed within QNJAC, I think we need to have a push from moving from just purely providing guidance notes, right, the high-level stuff. I think what we need to do is move QNJAC onto face-to-face communications, web communications, and so on. But I think what we need to do is get it out there into people, technical evenings, seminars, publications, hard and soft with this, right? So that engages with everybody and at every level. So we at IQ, we've got a dedicated team. We've got a Sarah and we've got a Dave who know a lot more than about communications than I do, right? So we've said that we'll help in this process, right? It can't be just facilitated purely by the HSE. They've got to have some help. So we said we'd do it. And I think what we need to do is push out this absolutely superb work that QNJAC does into the future, but I think in a new way. That's me, very quick. But any questions? No. Marvellous.
Just one question. Is it a formal body that we should join or be members of? So we've got the logo on our websites, anything like that?
QNJAC has 9 subgroups. If we can just flick back. Is that it? Yep. So we've got things like contractors and so on. Each of them subgroups has a chairman, and they would be more than happy to have people involved in them subgroups. Okay. So if you want any information, who to contact, where to go, and so on, give me a shout, and I'll help all the way. Okay. Let me move back. There we go. Right, thank you very much.